So I look like crap because of reasons I should have explained to you in an email that I've sent already. But yes. I just watched your video, so I'm going to record this now because I have a lot of thoughts on the matter. I understand the whole thing about your childhood being important to shape your fandoms, which is weird. That's just a weird conversation to have, but we are extreme nerds, so I suppose it's something we should probably talk about. Basically everything I loved, I wasn't allowed to love. I didn't like reading until I was in the 2nd grade. I didn't like anything until I was in the 2nd grade, apparently, because then I had a teacher who showed me that books were awesome. My parents were really excited that I finally liked something like intelligent-y. So they bought me tons of books, like whatever, and they take me to the library as often as I wanted. And it was like the greatest thing ever. I was just reading all the time. But I didn't really get excited about a book until I read Harry Potter. And I remember I was like laying in my bed, and my mom had just been to Costco and brought it back for me, and I didn't even know like what it was about. My mom didn't even know either. She just saw it as like a bestseller at Costco, you know, so she picked one up for me. And I was about halfway through, and I got called out to go to dinner, and Mom was like, so how is the book so far? What's it about? And I'm like, oh, it's about this wizard, and he didn't know he was a wizard, and it's so cool, Mom, it's so cool. And then she immediately freaked out and returned the book to Costco because it was Satan. And so I didn't have another Harry Potter encounter until I was in the 6th grade, because I was really good friends with Stephen White and Kelsey Snyder, who I think you know, and they're both pretty nerdy, or they were, and they were talking about Harry Potter, and I distinctly remember us like sitting outside painting something for class so we could like just, you know, talk about whatever, and they were talking about Harry Potter, and I was like, oh, I think I read one of those books once, and they're like, well, did you not like it? Like, why'd you stop reading? And I was like, oh, I wasn't allowed, I'm not allowed to read Harry Potter. And they looked at me and they're like, you know, you don't have to tell your mom you're reading those books. And I was like, yeah, but I feel bad. And like, well, do you think there's anything wrong with Harry Potter? And I was like, no. And so what we did, because my parents would like check, my parents knew everyone at the school system, and with the ones that took me to the library, so I had no way of checking out the books. So they would check out the books for me, and then I would just like keep them in my desk and read them all the time in the library during lunch breaks, because I was a nerd all of my life, apparently. By the time I hit probably around freshman year of high school, I had still been reading the books on the down low, right? But because my brother's 2 years older than me and doesn't care, it was around the time that he stole my guitar and started playing it. He decided that he liked Harry Potter and went out and bought all of the books that had been released up to that point, and just blatantly didn't care what my parents were saying. And I thought, well, that means I can read them now. And so I did. And so my parents just kind of got overwhelmed. And it's kind of the way it's been for a lot of things, because like my brother liked anime and video games, so I wasn't allowed to like them because they were boy things. But because he liked them, I got to do them because I was around him so much. So eventually, all of those things that my parents didn't want me to do just kind of snowballed. So if it wasn't for my brother, I don't think I would like the things I like quite as much, because I wouldn't have had the avenue and the support to stand up against my parents. Not to say that they're bad parents, obviously. It's just our opinions differ. So that's the reason why. Like, I mean, I like Harry Potter a lot, and just talking about Harry Potter gets me really excited. But for some reason, like, because Kingdom Hearts is my first really, like, rebellious, like, I'm buying this video game and I'm playing it, I'm going to enjoy it and you can't tell me otherwise kind of thing. Like, it was the first time I was blatantly, like, unashamed of my love for video games. So that's why I think I like that video game so much. It's not particularly spectacular, and, like, even the storyline has big holes and junk, but it's Kingdom Hearts and I love it. Here I am, almost exactly 24 hours later. It's kind of amazing how different sleep and food and a shower will make you feel. But I wanted to come back and talk again because I forgot to talk to you about something exciting that we're both going to do in November. NaNoWriMo! Oh my god. Just to make our efforts at NaNoWriMo less strenuous and heartbreaking. I think it would be a good idea if we joined the groups for our respective cities and actually like committed to meeting at write-ups. Bakersfield's been getting better about doing write-ups every year. Before they're pretty lax, I suppose. I know you have a job, it's going to be more difficult for you, but they're usually a few different times they make it available. Also, I think it'd be a good idea if you followed NaNoWriMo on Twitter. I think Twitter is NaNoWriMo Word Sprints, because they do word sprints all the time, even in the off season, just to keep you warmed up. That sounded like I was talking about sports, but I'm talking about writing. Total nerd. Okay, but NaNoWriMo Word Sprints is basically a Twitter account that will just tell you when they're starting a word sprint and for how long. And then they encourage you to post either how much you got done or what you were writing about, or like your favorite sentence that you wrote. Just a little bit to like keep you encouraged and show you your progress and show you how much you can get done when you really just sit down and focus for like 20 minutes, you know? Just really commit to writing. It made writing a lot easier for me last year, even though I didn't finish. But it also helps just in general. Sometimes I'll be doing word sprints and I'll be like, oh, I have to write a blog. So it really helps. Additionally, I think it's really important that you give yourself rewards. So after you've plotted out your whole story, I think it's good to set like not only like with different plot points, word counts, like how many words you want to have accomplished by a certain plot point, just so you can pace yourself and know how long it's going to take and how many words you should try and conserve in certain areas or whatever, you know, like, because sometimes it seems like you can't ever write that much about something. But if you have another like 2,000 plotted somewhere else, like, it's not a big deal if you can't write a bunch about a certain plot point. So it just gives you a bit of a goal. Helps you take the pressure off a little bit. And I always overestimate word counts by about 5,000 because I usually don't end up writing as much as I estimate. Or end up cutting stuff, you know, or cutting whole plot points. So it's just a good idea. It helps me, anyways, to feel like it's more manageable when it's broken down into like attainable chunks. And one last thing is to give yourself rewards. Did I already say that? Rewards. Right. For me, that's something like I'm going to write in my room today, and if I exceed my word count expectations, I will go to Starbucks tomorrow and write. Just because I really enjoy the change of scenery, but it's not necessarily a necessity for productivity. So those are my NaNoWriMo tips. Yeah. Oh, one more thing. I just, once again, wanted to tell you how much I enjoy this. Because he's like the perfect hug. He's my favorite. He's like so good at hugging. He's the perfect size and squishiness. I love you, bye.